are back to our show again. Good morning, Kuwait dear viewers watching us through the KTV2. Now we're going for our next interview segment, bringing extensive experience in advising clients across Kuwait and GCC. He leads the complex engagement for the both private and governmental entities, delivering strategic and high-impact advisory solutions. They offer extensive expertise in governance, risk and compliance (GRC), internal audit, enterprises risk management, and regulatory advisory, driving the design and implementation and offer integrated end-to-end solutions aligned with the international standards and local regulatory requirements. So let's welcome all of us, Mr. Enayet. He's a partner, head of risk private advisory services. Hello and good morning.
Good morning to you too. Thank you for having me here.
You're most welcome, and thank you so much for joining us on our show. Good morning, Kuwait. Our distinguished guests, in your point of view, I already spoke to you in the off-air. Can you elaborate more about how to evaluate governance and control management recently, in your point of view?
Actually, this is a very good question to start with. Recently in Kuwait and even the GCC markets, the corporate governance practices have been increasing in the awareness of the business owners. Even in the regulatory bodies have been increasing their internal development of the laws and regulations. Also, we can see nowadays a lot of alliances between Kuwait and government bodies and in other international regulatory entities. All of this contributing in a very positive way to have a well-designed environment, in the sense of have a well-controlled ground for all the business owners. Now there is a lot of regulations that is regulating the market, even in different industries. We'll find the regulations for the banking sector and financial sectors, for the other sectors, all have been now under the umbrella of strong regulators that have a clear ground, rules that can be followed by all the business owners in different sectors. So this brings actually a confidence to the foreign investors and to small investors to go and introduce themselves in the market and to see how the gain that they can take it from this strong regulated markets recently.
Nice. And also, in your point of view, you mentioned something important. We are doing our role for the investors, how to go to the right way. But we want, because we are investing, you are with us today here in the studio. So what is the difference between the risk management and the internal audit?
Okay. We have a general rule in our practices, which is the 3 lines of defense. 3 lines of defense, it's, as we said, it's 3 lines. First line is the operational management, which is the departments itself, the accounts department, the HR department, in any entity, the operations of the company. This is the first line of defense. They look into the day-to-day controls and they look into the day-to-day operations. They maintain the minimum level of awareness and the control environment. Secondly will come the risk management and the compliance, the internal control, which is looking over the first line of defense, which is the operational management. Risk management is a key input to the internal audit. Internal audit is a 3rd line of defense, which come after the 1st and 2nd line. So basically, internal audit is looking over the risk management. And risk management is a key input to the internal audit process. We call it in the internal audit, there is one, in the planning stage of the internal audit for all the entities as per the IIA standards, is the internal audit planning process. Internal audit planning process, it's depending on what? Depending on the risk-based audit plans and the risk assessment have been done. And also the most common difference between both of them, the risk management, it's the reporting structure of the risk management is directly to the management. But the internal audit, they report directly to the board and to the audit committees. So this is the key differences, but all of them, the 3 lines is contributing to have a well-organized and controlled organizations.
Nice. And this is the relation between them?
Yeah, this is the relation between the internal audit and risk management. Risk management is a key input to internal audit, and the internal audit is looking over the risk management outputs.
Nice. And from your point of view, this is like the difference between the risk management and the internal audit and the relation between them. So who needs the internal audit?
Okay. All of us, we need internal audit. Internal audit, it's not only for the big companies or the banks or the financial institutions. Internal audit can be there for any entity, regardless what is the field or what is the sector. Also, regardless how many employees in the organization. Everyone, he needs the internal audit to ensure that he is working in the right way, to give him the confidence that he is have a strong control environment. There is no gaps, there is no financial leakage, there is no operational losses. So internal audit, I believe it should be there in any company or any organization that they are willing to maintain a business efficiency and operational productivity.
Nice. And also, you mentioned too many things about the internal audit, that everyone needs internal audit, but I want now to specify from one faculty, one sector to another. So how about the internal audit to contribute for achieving organization objective? What do you want to say?
Okay, internal audit contributes a lot actually in achieving the organization objectives. Why? Because internal audit, it gives the board of directors and the audit committee a clear vision on how the environment of the internal controls in the company. What is the key gaps? What is the key observations? What is the key weakness points in the operational level of the company? And also, it's not giving only the gaps and the problem and then went away. In the internal audit, we give also recommendations. We give a treatment plans. So we put for you the gap and also the solution for this gap.
Yes.
Also, a part of the internal audit, they have a continuous monitoring procedures, which after you have your report with your gaps identified, also your recommendations, the internal audit come in after 2-3 quarters on the next audit cycles to assess and reassess where you are from these gaps. Have you implemented the recommendation have been given or no? Even if you implemented, but they assess how you implemented. Did you implement in the right way?
Nice.
Is this gap still there or it's totally closed? So all of this, it gives the management and give the board of directors confidence to go for more business and to explore more fields and to expand the business. So they will get the confidence that we have, yes, a solid ground of a well-controlled environment. It can give us the push forward for more business growings.
And also, this is why we call it about the organization. So if I want to implement the internal audit to senior management and for the support decision making, what do you want to say?
The decision making with the internal audit, we can call it's more efficient decision making process, and it will be more organized.
Okay.
And it will actually reduce the time that you need to take such decisions.
Okay.
Because when you know that if you are working in a well-structured organization, and you know you have a well-controlled environment, it will give you confidence to move forward, as we said.
Nice. So what about the internal audit for supporting the external inspections? Because now, like, I am hiring someone like you and you're working around the department, you have your like regular meetings.
Yeah.
You do something internal, so I ask you about the papers and the probabilities and the others. You will see like this is like your lack of thing, this is going better, this is going to the right way. But if I want to do external inspection, so what you will gonna do for me?
Okay. External inspections regularly, it's conducted by the regulatory authorities.
Okay.
Based on your field and nature of business, your specific regulator will do a kind of inspection. A part of the internal audit, main duty is a compliance audit. Compliance audits, it's basically assess the level of compliance with the applicable laws and regulations and give the company the result of this exercise. So if you are a company which is subject to Central Bank of Kuwait rules and regulations, or a bank or any financial institution subject to these regulations, the internal audit unit will give a periodic compliance reviews, which will give the process owners and the bank management or the financial institution management a clear insight what is the maturity level of our compliance environment.
Nice.
And also it give you a feedback on what is the gaps that need to be closed and need to be rectified. So by the time that the regulator will come and do their own inspections,
okay,
you will be in a good position which will mitigate any kind of fines or legal actions toward the company. So internal audit, it's more of, in this case, a proactive tool that can detect such gaps.
After you elaborate about the topic about the external inspection, there is something comes to my mind if you want to share to our dear viewers. Any like example happened like in a real story, because you're working in this in this field for a long time, like without saying the name of the companies, is this thing happening is like internal audit benefits from the external inspections?
Yeah. Now we can if we will go back to the past 5 years. In the past 5 years, if we will review or we'll have a look over what is the control environment in the company, how the internal audit is more efficient, to find even in the public publication of the regulatory authorities, the fines have been exposed to the companies. Now it become very less. Why? Because now the regulators have introduced the internal audit as a must for the companies to have. The compliance reviews, it's a must to have. Even the regulators have put in their executive bylaws a lot of mandatory guidelines to have an internal audit and to regularly meet with the board of directors. So every day we have in our work as a consultants, we have a real life scenarios that the internal audit brought the company out from being penalized or being under a legal action by the regulatory authority because of the results they given to the management as a proactive approach to close these gaps and these in-compliance issues.
Nice. So this is like we call it the old thing about the internal audit, about the objectives, about the risk, about how to elaborate, and even to share to the viewers about the importance of your department, about your work field, like for any private and public sector. So what about the other key objectives that we can to cooperate governance within the organization? What do you want to say?
Okay, corporate governance within the organization. Corporate governance, it's actually, the key objective is to have more structured organizations to ensure there is transparency, there is accountability, there is ethics. Work ethics has been unified all over the company departments and units. So the corporate governance, it have a lot of aspects to be covered actually within the company. Corporate governance, it's a system of policies, procedures, delegation of authorities, job descriptions, reporting structures. All of this, they are working together to achieve the corporate governance efficient work environment.
Nice.
So all of this actually will fall apart of inspection under the internal audit. So the internal audit tomorrow, when you go to any organization, they will start first with what? With their policies, procedures, and governance framework. So when the internal audit, when he review this kind of things and he found there's a strong foundation that the company have, they have a strong policies, strong procedures, a strong work ethics, and also they have a structured authorities, it gives the auditor a confidence that the environment of the company is going in the right way.
Nice, in the right way and even in the good way. You mentioned something about the work ethics, like even the internal audit and your field, you're going to also to spread the work ethics? You're following it? Huh?
Yeah, because now a part of the internal audit job is reviewing the internal human resources policies and code of conducts, and see if the company is really reviewing and deploying all of this code of ethics over all the organization employees. And if there's any misconduct happened, did the company use this code of ethics? Did the company utilize their policies and procedures, or it's just there for the matter of documentation?
Nice. We can't say all the times our distinguished guests, good times run very fast. We didn't fill the time. Thank you so much for joining here. And next, for sure, will be our next time. We'll talk more about the internal audit. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Special thanks and appreciation to our distinguished guest, Amro Enayet. He's a partner, head of the Risk Private Advisory Services. Now let's go to this break. They will continue show Good Morning Kuwait. So please stay tuned.